Taco OOE series is a convergence of efficiency, simplicity, and technology that makes installation, setup, and service easy. The VR15-30 pumps are specifically designed to be taken apart a certain way to rotate the control or replace the cartridge and perform maintenance. However, taking the pump apart incorrectly can damage the circulator and cause leaks or other problems. In this video, we'll show you how to take one apart. We'll use the Taco VR20-3 as our example. So let's get started. Safety is always first. The VR20-3 is a very heavy pump. Exercise caution and take all reasonable precautions when rotating the motor or attempting to perform any of these steps. Taco recommends that you rotate the motor prior to installing it in a piping system. For this job, you'll need a 5/8" ball-end Allen wrench and two larger-size flathead screwdrivers. Using the 5/8" ball-end Allen wrench, remove the 4 bolts from the casing and body. Store the bolts in a safe place. With the pump motor housing facing up, place your 2 larger screwdrivers on opposite sides of the casing. Gently pry up on the casing until it lifts completely out. Remove the motor controller completely from the casing assembly. The rotor and shaft will be left behind. The O-ring is sandwiched between the flange of the rotor and shaft assembly and the cartridge housing inside the motor. The nose of the impeller fits inside the wear ring. Note that it's a tight clearance. Keep this in mind when you reassemble the pump later. Another thing you want to keep in mind when reassembling the pump is that this shelf is where this lip will sit should you take it apart. Now that we've safely and successfully disassembled the Taco VR20-3, let's put it all back together. Being careful to align the nose of the impeller with the wear ring and the flange with the lip, place the shaft assembly back into the pump housing. Now, place the O-ring back inside the pump assembly. The next step is to position the motor and control in the orientation that you want it to be in. In this case, the control is going to be perpendicular to the flange. Remember, this is a tight fit. When you're putting the motor housing back over the rotor and shaft into the casing, be sure that you are as perpendicular to the casing flange and in parallel with the shaft as you can be. For the VR20, it's imperative that the motor drops back on straight. Any misalignment and the motor will get hung up on the rear shaft and bearing and you'll have to remove it again. It's important not to force the motor back onto the pump housing. Using 2 hands, pick it up and carefully place it over the rest of the pump. Be sure to keep the bolt holes aligned with the flange holes the entire time. Now that the bolt holes are aligned, you can start putting the bolts back in place. The bolts should move freely and be careful not to cross-thread. Now tighten the bolts in a cross pattern to ensure that you can pull the pump together snugly and evenly to avoid any leaks. And there you have it. This procedure applies not only to the VR20-3, but the VR15-3, VR25-3, and VR30-3 range of pumps. If you need more information, just visit our website at tacocomfort.com. And thanks for watching.